Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like once the kids get on to the computers, and sometimes that's all they want to do. And so you have to like teach them a little bit of a balance. And then some kids just cannot manage to be like a good digital citizen. I had a student last year, and we would do this thing called Flipgrid. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's free up to like a set amount. I forget. I think you can have like 2 classrooms for free or something like this. And basically kids, you would like ask a question or you give them something that they had to do, and then they could record their response, right? So for the kids who don't want to write, it's awesome. And it's just exciting to see yourself, and they could make comments and like what other people were doing and things like this. And I had one kid, he'd make these video responses and he would say the most inappropriate things like, well, you look funny in this one. And it's like, no, but that's not what we're doing, you know? So there is that you do, especially in 3rd grade, you do kind of have to monitor them a bit more. But I guess any teacher would say that, right? Like you kind of have to monitor them in high school for like, you know, things that they're doing there too. But yeah, I think that can happen. I mean, I know I've experienced it, but I think the good outweighs the difficulties any day. You know, I think the most important thing is I see people overexerting themselves. They say yes to everything. And I think you have to kind of listen to your own self. Balance, self-care is super important. I know I'm like horrible about this. I try my hardest, but I had a friend, well, I have a friend still, she's still around. And she was working, and I work really late too, which I started to change that. I think you have to just say, these are the things that I'm going to do after school, or like in any job, say these are the top 3 that I'm getting done. And after that, I leave. Or if I'm not done by a set time, I leave. You really have to take time for yourself and take care of yourself, because in teaching, especially, you are replaceable. Like you like to think you're not, but you are replaceable. There are so many people that are cheaper than you that want that job, that are eager for that job. And it is okay to say no. So my friend, she would say yes to everything. She's early 20s, mid 20s, something like that. I know her through social media. She had a stroke at 20 something because she was so stressed out from the teaching profession, and she was saying yes to everything and doing everything. And so I think, you know, we as teachers, we especially want to do everything. We are very nurturing people. And so we will tend to say yes at our own expense. So I think you have to prioritize what needs to be done or what's important, because the thing is, you could stay till 9 o'clock every single night, and guess what? It's still not all done. And I see a lot of teachers, and I did this in my first year. I didn't know what I was doing. So I'd give lots of worksheets and this and that, and I'd have to grade everything. And I was working until, 9 o'clock at night, and then I'd come home and I'd work some more, and then I'd get up at 5. And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of new teachers who think they have to have the Pinterest classroom, and they have to live to some standard. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that you're taking care of yourself, you're doing right by your students, and you're fulfilling what your job requires. All the extras, don't do them all at once. Just do a few here and there. Don't throw everything onto your plate. So I think that's a huge lesson. And then also too, I'm a veteran teacher. I have my stressful days, but I also don't let every single thing get to me, and I see these new teachers and they're running around and I have to make copies and this and that. It's like, just take a breath. You know what? Get out of your classroom at recess and go sit in the sun, go talk to somebody in the secret society. I think teachers nowadays feel like they have to do too much. And at the end of the day, they need to take care of themselves, because any school, any teacher, no matter how great you are, is replaceable. If they were to let you go, they would find somebody immediately to take your place. So I think just being mindful of who you are and taking care of yourself is number one, and set goals. Don't push yourself past those goals. 3 things a day. This is what I'm going to do. I'm leaving by 4 o'clock, or I'm leaving at 5 o'clock, or whatever it may be. But don't overexert yourself. So like, I have a goal for myself for this year is like, I'm going to wake up in the morning, you know, maybe like 5. I can wake up early. Contrary to what everybody thinks about me, I can do it and work on like my social media stuff that I need to do, like actually returning people's emails quicker than I do, you know? Like doing those things in the morning before school or prepping whatever I need. So get up at maybe at like 5, make like a nice breakfast. Then once I go to work, I'm contracted till 4, leave at 4, and then I have the afternoon to do whatever. I can go paint my art studio, or I can like work out, I can read a book, and nothing related to school once I leave, right? Like, and it's okay not to answer your emails when you leave. You know, it's okay to say, nope, it's 4 o'clock, I'm done. Because at the end of the day, if you overwork yourself, you burn out. And when I started back in 2003, I said the burnout rate was 7 years. That if you made it past 7 years, that you were a lifer. Well, then it went down to 5. And now they say that most teachers don't make it past year 3. And that's insane. That's insane. The pay is not great, right? Pay is not what it should be. And just what's expected of you it's a lot nowadays. So they're saying, yeah, teachers, I'm year 16, so I'm a lifer. But a lot of teachers aren't making it past year 3, and that's sad. That's not what it should have been, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think inherently teachers, we will reach out to one another if something is frustrating or difficult or we need advice, because a lot of times, you know, it's really hard to check your own self in class. So like, for example, I had a student, and this student was, you know, had his brother, loved his brother. This student though, and we just never connected. Nice enough kid, have nothing bad to really say about him, you know, but we just never made that connection. I was so like his brother. I just adore his brother, right? And for him, I just never, and I'm sure he didn't make that connection either. And that happens, right? So my other student tells me this joke, and we're coming back from library, and he says, what begins with an F and ends with CK? And I'm like, and he goes, fire truck. And I was like, okay, that's pretty funny, right? And I thought it was funny when he said it. So later in class, they brought it up again. And the kid that I just didn't have the connection with, he goes, that's my joke. And all of a sudden, I didn't think the joke was funny. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That was me being able to check myself, but not everybody can do that. So that's why a lot of teachers, if they're struggling or they're frustrated by a kid, a lot of times they will go to people that they trust and say, hey, I need some advice, or they'll go to their admin. So yes, there is a lot of discussion going on about all of the kids. So you are right. There is. Because teaching can be so solitary. You're just with the kids all day long, and there's not a lot of adult interaction. And so when you're in that kind of setting, sometimes you just need to ask somebody like, hey, am I out of line here? Should I be upset by this? Like, what would you do? Like, what I'm doing isn't working. So we do like collaboratively discuss like how things should be handled or what they would do, just to get that kind of perspective in there. But yeah, there is a lot of chit-chatting about advice needed and talking about students and figuring what's the best way to help them. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, the resources are just so much more too, right? Like before you would just get like the trifold poster, right? But they would just go to the trash like afterwards. So environmentally it's better as well, but the kids are excited. So as soon as they learn how to do one thing, then they go home and they start doing something on a topic that they want. So I have this one student, and he was like just not really so present very much in class. And at the end of the year, we had taught them how to make Google Slides and Docs and use emails. And he made like a whole Google like presentation for my teaching partner and I about what an amazing year he had. And it's like, I would never have guessed that, you know, that he was going to do that. But so they'll take what they've learned and then they'll just make like a bunch. It's that repetition, kind of like when they first learn how to read, right? They want you to read the same thing over and over again, right? So they get familiar with it. So as soon as they learn, they don't want to forget. So they'll make, so I get so many like presentations. It's crazy. Like